Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening. Bahamas coming up in our news tonight. The sexual offenses registry may come on stream in a matter of weeks. The opposition leader says the writing is on the wall that election will be called soon. And mothers celebrating their first Mother's Day after giving birth during the pandemic. Plus, Baha Bay is looking to make a splash to welcome locals by the end of summer. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. A happy Mother's Day to all mothers and mother figures. I'm Georgia Bain, topping news tonight. A sexual offenders registry may be ready for rollout in the coming months, according to National Security Minister Marvin Dames. Our Bethany McDermott reports.
National Security Minister Marvin Dames is expecting the sexual offenses registry to be in place within 2 months.
We're excited about that. We have done a significant amount of planning around that. Getting infrastructure together, working on the acquisition of the software for the sexual offenses registry, and we're excited to roll that out.
According to police reports, 2020 saw a 34% increase in sexual offenses involving rape, unlawful sexual intercourse, and attempted rape. The National Security Minister also giving an update on the installation of a mass communication system, which he says will come this quarter. The software is part of the Marcos alert system. Dames also expressing confidence that there will be no delays.
I'm thinking within this quarter, I suspect. I mean, our government recognized the importance of this. We would have committed to the Bahamian people. And as I said before, we're now moving into the hurricane season. And a system like this, a software like this, would be extremely beneficial. So the uses of it goes beyond just Marcos alert. It's really goes beyond the safety and security of our nations.
The software has the power to send mass messages with details on missing children or any other crisis. Dame says Cabinet has already approved the acquisition of the software, which will also include geofencing capabilities.
So if you have an event, let's say on Abaco, and you just need the persons on Abaco to be advised, the technology will allow for us to even geofence just to Abaco to deal with that particular matter.
Following the murder of 11-year-old Marco Archer in 2011, a law was enacted allowing authorities to send notifications alerting the public to missing children called Marco's Alert. Marco stands for the Mandatory Aggressive Action for Rescuing Children operation. Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
Well, the writing is on the wall, according to opposition leader Philip Davis, who says a recent Royal Bahamas Defense Force memo asking its department heads to prepare for the possibility of an early general election is a clear proof that one is under consideration.
I think we are all grown up, wise enough to look and see what it is all about. That election is in the air. Or put another way, there's no doubt that the government has been considering for quite some time calling an early election. Now, why they have not called it yet is a question that they should be answering to us. Because all the tea leaves are there, all the readings are there for an early election.
The April 29th memo reads, "Be advised that in preparation for the possibility of an early general election, you are directed to provide a list of all personnel in your purview voting in advance polls and to forward the same to the base executive officer's office by Thursday, May 6, 2021. While many have been speculating for months that Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is gearing up to call an early election, Minister of National Security Marvin Dames said on Tuesday that the memo was nothing out of the ordinary and said that the public should not read into it. But Davis disagrees.
Standard procedure. But standard procedure would require you to provide your name for the advance poll if there's not going to be an election. So clearly the minister is just obfuscating. They just want to call to their chest something they think for whatever reason, they will not let the Bahamian public know.
In recent months, Minnis shrugged off questions about the possibility of an early election. Both the Free National Movement and the PLP have ratified the majority of their candidates for the next election, aired election ads, and began canvassing communities. In recent weeks, much of the speculation of an early election has been overshadowed by a marked increase in COVID-19 cases here in the country. Davis says the recent surge in cases has delayed the PLP's plans to ratify the rest of its candidates.
The candidates committee has completed its work, and it's just we have to pull back because the application requires a congregation of persons, and we are not going to congregate persons at this time with the pandemic in the air as it is now.
So no specific date, right?
Not yet.
While the $200 million Baha Bay Water Park at Bahama will only be open for guests when it opens on July 2nd. The resort's president, Grand Davis, says by the end of summer, it will be open to locals not staying on the property as well.
We've created some great staycation packages for residents here in the Bahamas to come and join us at July 2nd and take full advantage of enjoying Baha Bay. We'll look at opening it up to the general public for a day pass only in the late summer, but we again look forward to having our local residents come and stay with us here at Baha Mar. Go to bahamar.com or even visit our new website at bahabay.com as well.
Once it opens on July 2nd, Baha Bay will feature 24 slides, a dueling water coaster, a wave pool, action river, and first of its kind surf simulator.
Tremendous amount of investment's been given. We have continued construction throughout the closure. We have made the commitments to enhance the experiences here at Baha Mar, and we're very excited to be announcing Baha Bay's coming on July 2nd.
Well, still to come on our news, the Social Services Minister goes on the defense, and mothers who gave birth during the pandemic give thanks. Plus, we take a walk on the wild side over on Grand Bahama. That's coming up when our news returns.
Come here, boy. Hey, this Sarge, man, I launching a comedy special that will feature some of my best skits and Zeneo's skits merged together into 3 parts, featuring collabs with Dasquay, Latoya Laughs, Vocab Bahamas, and more. The special will air April 29th at 7 p.m. Now, if I see you all there, 7 o'clock sharp, it can be me and y'all. You understand? Now, catch your local lip syncs for updates. Now, get out of my face.
You're watching our news. Welcome back. Social Services Minister Frankie Campbell responding to allegations circulating on social media, claiming that donations made to the Children's Emergency Hostel were stolen. According to the widely circulated post released on Monday, an unnamed donor inquired about a $15,000 donation made to the hostel, which reportedly prompted the minister to contact the Commissioner of Police for an investigation into the claims. However, Campbell dismissed those claims.
Something circulated on social media suggesting some impropriety at the Children's Emergency Hostel, and the message suggested that I gave some instructions. No such instructions were given. I communicated with the board of the Children's Emergency Hostel. I was advised that they are not aware. They have not received any complaint from any donor that any funds were stolen.
However, Campbell says if there is any truth to the matter, police will be called.
The board and I are in agreement that wherever there is report of any impropriety, we will deal with it. And so everybody knows that Frankie Campbell is not afraid to call the police. If it is necessary, the police will be called in.
In the midst of chaos and uncertainty in 2020, there were rays of hope, especially for those who became parents despite it all. In this Mother's Day feature, our Jasmine Brown speaks with 3 moms who say giving birth will always be the biggest blessing. Here's her report.
Becoming a mom is no doubt a pivotal event in any woman's life. For many expectant mothers, it's a joyous time, but also one filled with stress, anxiety, and a little uncertainty. For those who gave birth in the last year, like the women I spoke to, the COVID-19 pandemic did not make it easy, but they all say it was worth it. from a second-time mom who has previously had multiple miscarriages.
Pregnancy was easy for me. The problem was holding the baby. So after 12 weeks, my womb would just completely open. And the first set of pregnancy, I didn't understand why until I started going to the doctor and they gave me a stitch. And the first stitch that I have, they didn't really explain why until I went to Dr. Bodie. And then she explained to me that I have a short cervix and the procedure that I would need. It was hard because many times I wanted to give up. Many times I wanted to give up.
To a mom who gave birth to her rainbow baby.
Last Mother's Day, we were celebrating the life of the baby we miscarried. And I was actually already pregnant with him, just I didn't know yet. But being able to celebrate him being here, it means a whole lot because that was our first child that we lost. And so being able to conceive again was a blessing. And being able to have him carry him full term and have him on this side, healthy and joyous, means the world to me. This is a deeper level of love that I truly am experiencing.
And a mom who is celebrating Mother's Day and her 30th birthday.
Well, this Mother's Day is a double whammy because I celebrate my Mother's Day and my 30th birthday at the same time. So I don't know, I feel so super blessed. I'm really happy. I'm excited to be a mom and I'm excited to be 30, so I'm happy.
They all have one thing in common. They've added to their families in the last few months. Carlisa Bell is a 28-year-old mom who had her son Noah 3 months ago.
Having a baby, the whole journey of pregnancy actually, during a pandemic and then having a baby was very different from what I had expected it to be because, this was a period of isolation. Usually having a baby is a time where you get to celebrate with family and friends very closely, but having to do so sort of in isolation was a bit difficult. But thanks to technology, we've been making it work. Thankfully, even having him and being able to still have my husband in the room with me meant a whole lot, especially in the middle of a pandemic. I know that's kind of been a challenge for a lot of women. So for me, being able to actually share that moment with him actually meant a whole lot. And yeah, it's just the isolation from family and friends that's been a little difficult to manage beyond the usual precautions, but we've been making it work.
It's a similar experience for 30-year-old Jillian Hanna. She's the mom of a 3-month-old named Dakota.
I think motherhood is lonely, and by that I mean no matter how much support you have, it's still just you going through this experience. At the best of times, even when you have your mom, your dad, your significant other with you, it's still a very lonely experience, I think, at first. So with COVID, that just compounded that loneliness because here you are, you're not allowed to go anywhere, you're not allowed to see anyone, no one's allowed to visit, you're so scared, you don't know how COVID's gonna affect you or the baby. You're just even more isolated than normal. So I think the hardest part for a lot of moms was just the complete isolation during what is technically probably one of the most scariest times in your life.
32-year-old Cherise Butler had her baby girl Cheyenne 5 months ago. Already a mom of a 2-year-old, she says becoming a mom is always rewarding. She encouraged others who may be struggling with childbirthing to never give up.
I tell them not to give up. Find other options. If one doctor isn't working for you, then find another one. But always keep God first. That's the main thing. And I always speak what I wanted. Everything I speak, I want it. I said, by 30, I want to have my house. By 30, I hope I have my kids. And everything just fell into place. So I would tell them the power of the tongue is very important.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, when our news comes back from the break, our Jillian Gray takes a walk on the wild side over on Grand Bahama. And our Marcellus Hall has this week's sports highlights. We have that and much more after the break.
Hey, come here, boy. Hey, this Sarge, man, I launching a comedy special that will feature some of my best skits and Zaneo's skits merged together into 3 parts, featuring collabs with Stingray, Latoya Laughs, Grand Bahamas, and more. The special will air April 29th at 7 p.m. Now, if I see you all there, 7 o'clock sharp, it can be me and y'all. You understand? Now catch your local lip syncs for updates. Now get out of my face.
This is our news. Welcome back. You've heard about swimming with the pigs, but what about wild stingrays? Tonight, our Jillian Gray takes a walk on the adventurous side, feeding wild stingrays in Grand Bahama.
Just 8 miles off the coast of West End Grand Bahama lies Sandy Key, 6 acres of pristine, untouched beauty. We're here today to talk about making this area a marine protected park, as well as to feed some wild stingrays.
After a quick ride out from West End, we arrived at Sandy Key. Immediately, we see 3 large stingrays and 4 lemon sharks. And that's just the welcome party. Keith Cooper must have seen the look on our faces because he repeated several times, "You are safe."
Never will you get in the water, swim with them, and they'll go arbitrarily throw a stinger. It just does not happen. And I've had many people in the water out here. Stingrays only are going to use their stinger under 2 conditions. One, if you're walking along the beach and you don't know what a sleeping stingray looks like covered in sand and you happen to step on it, like if someone was to step on your back while you were at home, you would turn around and want to knock the living daylights out of them, right?
Fishermen like Cooper's grandfather once used the island to clean their catch. Cooper has been operating West End ecology tours for 12 years and says is something he just stumbled upon.
Well, I am not the first person to come out here and feed these animals, but I am the first person to come out here and actually do an educational ecology experience where you're going to learn how to safely interact with wild stingrays. Let me emphasize the word wild once again. By no stretch of the imagination, the things that you're going to see me do here in a few minutes, have I trained these stingrays how to do it. If anything, they've trained me how to work with them, and all I'm doing is allowing you to interact with them as well, but in a safe manner.
Cooper is known as the Stingray Whisperer. We got to see just how he got that name as he introduced us to his oldest stingray friend, Big Mama. Our social media manager, Sasha, was a bit apprehensive, but she soon warmed up to those gentle giants. By the end of the day, she and our cameraman, Tim, were pros. While the pandemic slowed down international tour guests, Cooper says he's expecting to see an uptick soon. Locals are now beginning to book tours, and he's hoping the experience will give Bahamians a greater appreciation for nature.
Only recently, since COVID and Hurricane Dorian, have Bahamians who can't travel or go on vacation like we used to are now finding me and saying, well, we want to do your tour. So I've taken actually some large groups out over the past few weeks since around Easter time. And so I think this is going to help bring back more and more local market people here on Grand Bahama. And now we hope to attract some of the same customers from Nassau and other islands.
Cooper is hoping to one day see the area designated a marine protected park, as he says the ecosystem can help revive conch populations.
This is a sanctuary for conch. Conch was the #1 resource out here back in the day. And now the conch are very sparsely found, but they are in the waters out here. So this area, if it's protected, I think will serve as a nursery to allow the juvenile conch to have a place to rest until they're able to grow into a larger size. And look, we got a stingray following us. And that's how nice they are. And so I think that the protection of this area is really going to be paramount to survive all of these natural disasters and to create this magical place for more generations and future generations to come.
Reporting from Grand Bahama, I'm Jillian Gray.
Now here's Marcellus Hall with your Sunday Sports Special.
Well, this past week, yet another Bahamian joined the ranks of professional baseball players. Christon Monroe, formerly of Freedom Farm and now of I-Elite Baseball Academy, signing a deal to join the ranks of the Anaheim Angels. He now becomes the 3rd Bahamian to join that organization, a fact that has Brian Cruz, the Assistant Director of International Signings, who was here to help him sign the contract, pretty pleased about what's ahead.
Our director, Brian Parker, has been following Chris pretty closely since last year, saw him a lot, sent me over here to the Bahamas to watch him so we can solidify our process. Fell in love with the kid right away, not only his tools on the field, his bat, his speed, his athleticism, but what he brought off the field, makeup, leader, someone who is very respectful, a little bit of a jokester, which we all like, someone who can have fun with the game, and saw nothing but 5 stars all around whenever I saw him.
This has been your Check on Sports for Sunday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
And a church donates life-changing equipment to Princess Margaret Hospital. And we take a look at some of this week's most memorable quotes. Stay with us.
Hey, come here, boy. Hey, this Sarge, man, I launching a comedy special that will feature some of my best skits and Zenayo's skits merged together into 3 parts, featuring collabs with Stingray, Latoya Laughs, Grand Bahama, and more. The special will air April 29th at 7 p.m. Now, if I see you all there, 7 o'clock sharp, it can be me and y'all. You understand? Now, catch your local lip syncs for updates. Now, get out of my face.
You're watching our news. Welcome back. The pediatric ward of Princess Margaret Hospital getting a much-needed donation of life-saving equipment to assist some of its youngest patients. Senior Pastor Mario Moxie of Bahamas Harvest Church delivering the gift last week.
Every year, our church embark on a way to be a blessing to the mothers and fathers in the hospital. And so we conduct a Mother and Father Day Blitz. Because of COVID-19, we were unable to do it last year and this year, and so we decided that we're going to express our love and affection to the hospital in some other way. And so we asked the question, how can we be a blessing? How can we help? Is there a need that you presently have that we can meet? And the response that we got back was this was the critical component that was needed at this time in the pediatric ward.
The machine will help premature babies and those with birth defects to breathe. The ward currently only has one, and this donation will make a huge improvement to the resources on the ward.
Thank you. On behalf of my supervisor, Mr. Becker Johnson, and the staff of Children's Ward, I'd like to thank you for this gift. It will be well utilized. It's timely because we are now short of them, and it's used for the blood pressure, like you said, the temperature, the pulse, and it's also used to monitor the oxygen, and so it's something that we can use. We really need one.
The public hospital has a wish list of several pieces of life-changing equipment needed across the hospital. To learn more about how you can help, here's how.
The Princess Margaret Hospital Foundation, we enjoy partnerships with organizations like Bahamas Harvest that can come forward and to be able to give this gift to our patients. But there's so much more that other corporate Bahamas can participate in terms of giving gifts, similar to what we've done here in terms of the monitor for vital signs at the hospital. There's a lot of equipment. Feel free to contact the PMH Foundation. If you have any questions or you're interested in making a gift to the hospital, we'll be more than happy to give you our wish list, which would include a lot of those needed equipment.
Well, finally in news tonight, we take a look back at some of the most memorable quotes of the week. This first quote comes from the Minister of National Security, Marvin Dames, who dispelled speculations of an early election after a memo was sent to members of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force concerning registration for advanced polls.
Only one person can decide that. Only one person. And that is the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I won't read too deeply into that, as I said before. This is a normal occurrence, and I don't think you should be reading too deeply into that either. Only one person will determine the date of the election, and he hasn't yet done so.
Well, this next quote comes from Minister of Social Services Frankie Campbell in the aftermath of a massive fire on Jenny Street. Campbell says that it's not realistic to rely solely on the government.
I know the thought of insurance is expensive, but there are options for insurance. There are options for contents. There are options for just your roof. There are options that need to be considered. But if we expect in every incident that the government will make us whole, that is not realistic.
And this final quote comes from House Speaker Halson Mutri, calling on the executive branch to stop running the House of Assembly like a dinky boat.
It's time for the staff of this parliament to be paid their overtime for 4 years now. 4 years. It's time for this parliament to pass a resolution so that we can meet in hybrid form, face-to-face or virtually. It's time. It's time for the independence of this parliament and for the executive branch of the government to stop dragging this parliament around like a dinghy boat.
What was your favorite quote of the week? Join the conversation and let us know on the R News Facebook page. Well, thanks for joining us on this Mother's Day on behalf of the entire team. I'm Georgie O'Bain, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Tonight's Movies for Mom is not easily broken, but first, on the record with host Jerome Sawyer.